Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk a little bit for just a few minutes about the one evaluation or review that you've read in your chapter. This is for volume 4, and it's on page 198. And it's called Juno, Not Just Another Teen Movie by Allie Heinekamp, who we find out, if you read just the lines before, was a first year writing student at Wright State University. And so she wrote this paper in response to an evaluation assignment similar to what you guys will be doing. So let me just talk through some of the aspects of this review that I think are good and that you can emulate when you start to write your own review. So the introduction starts with this sentence. It all starts with a chair where Juno, Ellen Page, has unprotected sex with her best friend Bleecker, Michael Cera. That, if we're thinking about the PowerPoint on introductions, is an interesting start. It is kind of a startling fact or something that hooks us and draws us in. So that's the kind of introduction that this particular writer wanted to use. She goes on to summarize the story just briefly, give the actors' names, and then gets into her thesis, which is the last sentence of the first paragraph, where I want your thesis to be as well. The rest of the paper that she writes goes into the different criteria that she uses to analyze and review the film, to evaluate it, to make an assertion, an argument about it, so that we can decide if we want to watch it or not. That's the whole point. Should we watch Juno? What is successful about it? What is unsuccessful? She decides to start by acknowledging what's unsuccessful first. And she talks about how it's unrealistic. And then the next paragraph, by using a good transition, the word likewise, she talks about Juno's dialogue. Funny and clever, but unrealistic. And then each body paragraph is built up with the topic sentence and the criteria that are used. And she uses evidence from the film itself to suggest why she asserts this. So an evaluation or review starts with one's opinion, but it becomes more sophisticated when you add evidence and reasons that are intended to persuade. After acknowledging what's wrong with it, she goes into what's right. But although the situations and dialogue are unrealistic, the emotional heart of the movie is believable and moving. So the believability and relatability of the characters is part of the plot, part of the theme, part of what makes it good. And that's a criteria. If you're looking at a comedy / romance type of movie and you're looking for heart, then this would be a successful movie. She talks about the heart. She talks about the characters' vulnerability at the end of page 199. She talks about visual scenes with the character, which helps compel us to want to watch the movie. And then on page 200, she starts using research. Now, I did not yet give you your evaluation assignment, and I'm just telling you now, you will not be required to use research, but you can if you want to. So this particular author chose to look up, it looks like 3 different reviews of the movie and incorporate them into her own review. And she used them as supplements to her review. She did not use them as her own evaluation. She used them to help support her evaluation. After discussing some of the research and giving more information on the heart of the film and what's good about it, she continues on toward the end of page 200 to talk about the concerns that critics have about perhaps the movie glorifying teen pregnancy. And she actually says that it does not. she says, and uses some research also as support, finally, that in her strength, Juno is a role model for young women. And then we get to the conclusion where she again talks about how the movie is filled with improbable situations, exaggerations, and wit. It still has genuine emotion to allow us to connect and relate with the film. So she's used several criteria: characters, plot, visuals, theme. And these are the important characteristics and criteria that she thought were necessary. She didn't talk about cinematography. She didn't talk about costumes. She didn't really talk much about directing. She mentioned who the director was. In a way, she talked about writing because the dialogue is part of the writing. So that was another criteria she used as well, was the script, which came forth in the dialogue. So anyway, this is an example of a good review that has all of the elements that I've talked about in my PowerPoints, and that would create an interesting, effective evaluation of a film. Thanks. Bye-bye.